Hey folks, welcome to Pine Badger Outdoors. Today on the channel, we're out for a 2-day adventure, 2 nights, and it's a beautiful day. It's about 10 o'clock in the morning, and we're loaded in heavy today. We're humping in some gear, and once again we're down at the Honey Hole, one of my favorite spots. And I was going to camp up on the hill, but I think I'm going to camp where me and Willie did, just because of the water source here, so plentiful. The water's some high. I had to come up higher on the brook to find this log here to cross. But anyways, I'll bring you guys back in a bit when I set up camp. Don't forget, like, subscribe if you haven't, share, hit the little bell notification. We're trying to grow, but this should be a good one, guys. There's some nasty weather calling for tomorrow. You just have to watch the whole video. Might be a long one to see what that weather might be. Look at that. Thanks for coming along, guys. It's going to be fun. Well, guys, it is about 10 after 1, and I want to take you guys for a little walk and show you the progress I've made so far. Now, I'm going to turn the camera here eventually, because like I said, you might hear a little bit of road noise. But I finally took a little break. 10 o'clock this morning, I humped in, and I didn't really stop because, well, I'll show you once I get in there. There's a couple things. So anyways, oh, that's a good coffee right there, guys. We are going to turn this little bugger, and let's go for a walk. Now, we need to cross several bridges in the enchanted forest of the Pine Badger. But the thing is, guys, it does look like one of those forests. And this isn't all the way, but this is definitely the most beautiful. So we're going to walk up through here. Whoa. And we're going to walk through the woods. And you're going to have to forgive me, guys, when I get up here, because this little camera even though the battery's been charging, I'm sorry about this, guys. The batteries in these little cameras are not very good at all. So forgive me for this one, guys. Wouldn't be the Badger unless something happened. Okay, there. So nice down here. So yeah, basically what happened with the little tent was I wanted the door so that when I wake up in the morning, or later tonight, if I want to put my little chair here and sit near my stove, this is my view. But because I'm here for 2 days, guys, that's why I kind of got to work and did some stuff here. And I've got some stuff to do yet. I haven't eaten, but I did eat a good breakfast. You can see here. I have to finish banking the tent with just the debris because I'm going to clean my area here. I've been scraping, and you can see the frost on the ground. You know, some people might think about, like, you know, maybe condensation and stuff, and yeah, you do get a little bit at the bottom, but I really don't get any inside, and I think it's because of that little fan that I use. I'll try to show you here, guys. We're using a selfie stick today. I've probably showed you guys this before, but it's got 3 speeds and it's got a built-in LED light. And it's rechargeable with these. Now these are what I use to charge. I have 2 of them, guys. I don't have one of those fancy jackery rigs. Those things are expensive. But I could see the demand for more power if I videoed more, because it's pretty much, I'm not even into cold weather yet, and this little camera's pretty much relying on the battery bank to run it for any amount of time. So yeah, you could probably hear in the background, like I said, we're in a gully here. So that runs downhill, obviously, because you can see which way the water's going. And the sound shoots right up here. But I changed my mind and I just want it to be nestled in. Because the weather says, I think tomorrow, it's supposed to be rain. I brought my my plate. And I think what I'm going to do, guys, I think somehow, well, I mean, I've got to get some wood going here because I'm going to run out of daylight real soon. Geez, that's a good coffee. I think it's always better when you earn it, guys. But yeah, couple things. I didn't film it, but I sure will admit it. I had to spin the little tent, and I had the frickin' little liner thing, in, like the half mesh liner set up inside. The stove wasn't set up though, but all the guy wires. And I had to actually dig to get this. I've never had to dig before, but it was the only part of ground. But anyways, we got a nice little set there now. In a beautiful location. And you know what, guys? If you watch my videos, there's a little hobo stove just up over the hill. That we're probably gonna go get for tonight, because I brought a big tarp. It's made by Woods. It's pretty big. I don't know the exact size, but I'm gonna try to run a ridge line, and I brought a couple pressics. I'm gonna run those pressic knots there. I hung them in the tree. They're already made, and that's the only thing I pretty much got left, is to run that and to get some wood, and maybe run up on the hill and get that hobo stove. For supper tonight, guys, I might just have some KD cups. I brought a couple of those, some MREs that were kicking around in the surplus room. Just odds and ends. You always seem to have those. But yeah, last week I had a really good camp with my buddy Mo. He enjoyed that. We were using a few of those fiber bricks, logs, whatever. And I don't know, that little stove, it does, like one of those, it's not, it's pretty freaking efficient. Like, it's not out of this world. I mean, once you light a wood stove, that's the thing with when you light a wood stove, you're pretty much on it, like unless, me, what I do, I put a piece in it, and then I just I watch it for a while, and usually I'll fall asleep because I draft it down. But when I'm burning those little fiber logs, I leave the draft on the pipe about 3/4 of the way open, and I control it inside, because that little stove it's got crazy pull. But yeah, I brought a lot of gear, guys, and I even brought a few of those fiber logs that were left over. And I'm not even going to lie to you, I wouldn't be stuck for wood, because, like I said, my buddy that owns this land, his log yard is just up here about 1 kilometer, and I could pick through, the rubbish. But I mean, I'm going to try to get us what we can here for tonight, and because tomorrow, according to the weather, like I said, it is supposed to be a nasty day. Freezing rain and freezing rain and then ice pellets or something like that, and then I think it's supposed to turn to snow. So I thought, you know what a place to get some video in the snow. And like I said, guys, I'm not sure about the content on this and how long it'll be or anything like that, but it's going to be a 2-day camp. And I know it's sorry, guys, Jesus, I have a hard time. I guess that's how you know the old badger ain't a professional, huh? Guys, you pay for what you get. But you know what? This is free. So there's that old train in the background. Doesn't matter where I camp around my place, I can't get away from that sound. Johnny Cash would have loved this place. No, but it's true. Like I said about the sound, it echoes right up here. But yeah, outside of spinning that tent, that was it was kind of a silly one on my part, but that was just because it wasn't a necessity. It's something I wanted. And yeah, like I said, Mo had a good time, I believe. Well, he did, except for there's one time through the night where I thought, instead of just putting one of those logs, I would put 2. Yeah. He let me know the next day about it a lot. I guess it was pretty warm. Because, see, he was using, in the Canadian military back in the 80s, it was called the Black Betty. It was made by Uniroyal, I believe. And they've got this really cool system where it's got a pouch on the end, and it's made out of actual rubber. Well, the point of this is when you inflate it, it puts you a few inches off the ground. And he had an old sleeping mat self-inflate that leaked, but it didn't matter. It still was insulated down. And anyways, he had a few layers. So he was a few inches higher than me, and believe it or not, that's the key in these little tents right here. That's the key in these little tents right here, is even with that wood stove, there's a certain height, about 6 inches, 5-6 inches. That's where it is. It's just a balm. But when you're on the ground, that's why I bank it up, because that helps me a lot. And the fan moves air, so I don't get a lot of condensation. At the bottom, well, yes, you have to get some, right? I mean, it's a heated structure. But anyways, guys, I know I'm just rambling on, but I do feel bad about not videoing more with the tent, but that's an old habit I have, you see. Get her done. So sometimes you don't think, oh yeah, there's that little module. I've got the other one in the tent, the little thermometer, I mean. And I've been walking all around here. The water's some friggin' high. I usually cross right here, believe it or not, when me and Willie camped. That's where me and Willie cooked, right there. And we crossed right here. So with rain coming, I'm glad I got that little bridge up top there to get by on. But what a beautiful place. I said the train, but the thing is with me and the train, guys, you got to understand, I grew up with that. It's literally 250 yards from my house, so you know, it's weird. Certain sounds will wake me up. That's a lot less than that. It's just what you get used to. So yeah, I am going to get some wood going, and after I tarp it and get that set up, I'm going to bring you guys back so you can check that out. And we should have a good couple days, guys. I find the first day when I do this, it's been a few years. It's been a few years since I've done a 2-day camp. I've done as many as 4 in a row before, and that was in wintertime with the military bell tent. But I'll tell you what interests me is I don't know. I've been thinking about getting me one of those diesel heaters to heat my shop for wintertime when I tinker on those motorized bikes of mine. Because, you know, I tinker on them and then I frig with them in the summertime. And I was thinking about maybe having that for the shop and integrating it for a wintertime camping, like somehow with a, you know, I mean, I know a Jackery or something would power it, but I mean, I can't afford something like that. I would try like a booster pack, do a test in the backyard. So that might be something in the future. That would be like a lazy camp, because basically bulky, yes, heavy, not really. And you wouldn't be tied to the stove. Like, you set it and just, you know, Hollywood, you know, let's go snowshoeing and come back and, you know, burn a half a liter or something in 3 hours. Because you got to remember what we're heating. We're heating a 5-foot, 1 inch or something, 5'1" at the peak tent. And I just wanted to bring you guys down. The point of me coming down here was I wanted to show you this. So yeah, that may be a future camping event. So, you know, leave me some comments. I got my regular people that leave me comments. And thank you guys. Thank you for that. You know, I do appreciate it, and I try to, you know, I love to camp, so I mean, you know, I try to take suggestions, and well, this is one of them. Maybe not in the location I said when I did the recon, but that's the old badger. He changes his mind from time to time. But I just can't get past this brook. That's the thing. So anyway, yeah. Wood. I really do want to run the tarp, because if we get those ice pellets, can you imagine the sound in the brook? Ooh, it's going to be overload. Overload! And there's only one way. I know, like, you know, Jesus, this might be a long one. I'm not sure yet. But there's only one way. If the weatherman's right, there's only one way you're going to find out. You have to stick around to the end. And like I said, share my videos. You know, we're growing. Slowly, but we're growing. I appreciate every subscriber I get. We earn them. And we camp together in the Great Badger Nation. That's what we do. And I do feel fortunate that I have this, guys. I really do. Because there's a lot of people, you know, they don't. So, anyways, guys, I think what I am going to do is get this tarp run up and bring you guys back in a bit later. And we'll have a little campfire tonight. Still got quite a few things to do, so I got to get going. I like making these videos, you know, guys. But I know I don't videotape everything because I'm not that good at it. So that's why I really have to kind of get, you know, certain things done and then video, because it's the video thing that kind of slows me down. But isn't that beautiful right there? Yes, I can't wait to see it with a layer of snow, guys. Bring you guys back in a bit. Thank you, guys. Alright, guys. I was getting a little bit hungry. 3:30. We are close to the brook to do our dishes, and I made a hot chocolate that come in the MRE. I had just went down to the brook and I got a little bit of water, and I didn't filter it or anything. It's just excuse me. It was just to make these cook these MREs. Because these heaters lately suck. Morris when we went out on our little camp there in the smoky hut, he had 3 of those heaters and they failed, every one of them. Oh, and if you watch the channel, guys, there's the hobo stove. I went up on top of the hill to get it. So yeah. We have fruit punch. Probably have that later. This here I never had before. Vanilla. Vanilla pudding. So yeah, I'm not going to make it though, just in case I can't. In case I can't eat all of this. But I'm going to try to eat all of this. So yeah, I got camp all squared away. Probably later on, well, yeah, later on, I'm going to bring you guys back and I'm going to show you the tarp setup. Like, I know you can't really see it from that angle. I just set it up so I could talk to you guys a bit. And I've got camp set up for me for 2 days. Like, I can have a little, I'm sorry, excuse me, hot chocolate. I can have a little fire. It's not under my tarp here. I brought the big tarp. And I had to monkey a little bit, and right behind the camera I got an old dead standing over there, and I had to cut it, and I made a center pole, and it made it really nice. So later I'll show you that. But for right now, guys, the old badger's pretty hungry. So yeah, I've got everything organized pretty much where I like it. Got the little toiletries here, the wipes and the toilet paper, paper towel. And I've got my go bag right by the door because, well, that's the first aid, that's the everything. I don't know, guys. I bought these red cylinders here at Kent, and I was telling my buddy, I said that they were a full $1 cheaper than the small ones at the other chain store, Canadian Tire. But the thing is, they're not, because they're not as good. Because this one I've been monkeying with. This is the second trip just to try to make anything happen. Oh, we're almost there, guys. I do believe. Wipe this puppy down. This is marinara sauce with meatballs. Now, I'm not too worried about that MRE because you can see where that's going to go. That's going to go right in the hobo stove. Black beans in a seasoned sauce. So we're going to try to mix it all together and hope for the best. Now, maybe it's just me, guys. This is just me being a smart ass, but I can't help myself. If you could smell this, because I have gotten some of my smell back. I could have said, well, you know, I've been over the stove for, you know, I brought all my vegetables and I chopped everything and But I do tip my hat to the guys that cook. You can't mind me, guys. I like to tease, and I can't cook. This is pretty good, though. So yeah, it's been a busy day. I did get some wood here, guys. I didn't really show you that, but I can take a peek in later, of course. I set the tarp up. I got the hobo stove. The thing is, day 2 is always more relaxing because all this work is done. All the setup. And basically I set up twice. Just because I wanted that view right there. Go figure. I noticed it after I put my last guy wire up. Guy line, whatever. Had to reset those. But goes to show you, doesn't matter how much you do it, it's always something. I always said out here, guys, the adventure doesn't begin till the first thing messes up. And that's when the adventure begins. That wasn't really a big deal. It was just me. Wow, this is really good. I needed some calories, guys. I did have a good breakfast, though, before I left. My wife, Carol, she went to work and she left me 2 nice pieces of meat pie in a container in the fridge for breakfast. Thank you, Carol. It was delicious. Wow, that's pretty good. But I do think I will leave the dessert for later. I'll let that settle. That is good. And I've got a little bit more to go. But yeah, it's been a busy day. But we got a lot done, guys. And like I said, the weather's calling bad tomorrow, so I'm just hoping we can. I don't got much daylight left today. It gets dark really early now. So by 5:30, 6 o'clock, it's dark. So anyways, guys, I will get back later, and I'm going to go try to scavenge a little bit more wood before bed. And or before we go in the tent for the night, because we're going to sit here and hang out tonight by the brook and use Carrie's nice ring light and give that a go. So thanks a lot, guys. I know I say that a lot, but that's how much it means to me. I'll bring you guys back in a bit. Hey guys, Well, we're back here. Trying to move the mic a little bit closer to me. I am trying to use the mic, guys. We're just going to make a coffee here. That wood's sparking pretty bad. I don't know how it's going to do on the tarp there, but I'm not going to put a lot in at once. That's some pretty dry stuff I found just laying around. So yeah, it's been a busy day. We got the tarp up. So if it does rain or snow, whatever, we should get some pretty nice video in the morning. And we'll get some probably tonight in by the stove. I never lit the stove yet. It is 5:15 and it is dark in the woods, guys. And even though the door is open, it is 0 in the tent. And the module is just behind the ring light over there. And it reads -1. So, we're just unwinding from the day. Like I said, the first day is a lot, like set up, and I messed up on the tent here. I twisted it, but that was me. That wasn't a necessity. That was just me in the morning. When we wake up, we're gonna open the door and get us a nice view in the morning. We'll see the same thing. I don't know how the mic is picking it up, but the brook and it's running. The water's high, but it rained hard the other day. But it seems as though whenever I set up the little iron wall, I have to fumble, monkey around. I'm just used to the smoky hut. But I do love that half mesh liner, and it's not for the bugs this time of the year. It's just for organization. I like to be organized. I don't know how much night footage I can take, guys, with the ring light, and the camera's running off that battery also. That battery bank. I do have 2 of them though. My wife brought me some bear paws, but they're all individually wrapped. That'll be a nice one. This will be the last coffee of the evening. because once I get in there, I don't want to have to keep coming out to pee. Looks like the smoke's going right to the camera, guys. So I'm probably just going to let this burn down. That's the thing about camping this time of the year, guys. It's dark so early. So I sit by the fire for a while, and usually the first day I'm kind of tired. So by the time I get in and get warmed up in there and get the fire going, it's usually time. I hope you guys can see me a little bit because of that freaking smoke. But anyway, guys, I'm going to just finish up here, and then I am going to give you guys some footage inside when we light our little stove. Later, guys. Okay, guys. It is later on in the evening, and I'm just getting my shit organized here, guys, for the night. It is probably, what is it? It's 9:30. And I made one more coffee. And I'm not running the microphone because, well, we're inside the tent. And I haven't lit the fire yet, guys. These little Walmart hooks here I use on the center pole. I bought on clearance years ago for $5. They really are pretty good. I'm still mucking around with these settings on this light. But yeah, I'm thinking about this coffee and crawling in my rack soon. Light the fire. -2 outside, 5.4 inside. See, I use the heat shield. Or I would like to use the heat shield for a doorstop. I'd rather do it now than when, you know, the door is hot. So, get our little fire cube up in there. Oh, we're gonna lay 2 in there. It's magic. And I think what I'm going to do is because just try to turn this, guys. Like I said, I don't know. How good this is all working out here. But I try, you know. So yeah, what I started to say was as a precaution, I brought my bivvy bag. You know, guys, I admit when I do something wrong or when I learn something new, and basically for all the times that I've been using this kit, I've pretty much been using it wrong. Because the sleeping bag, you're supposed to zip right down the center, and I would always lay it off to the side. So there. Man, you can hear that water up there. I'm going to leave that down on the... Okay, now that I'm in that, I can get out of it. Because when I climb in that, I don't have any, I just have my thermals or something like that on. Hey man, it doesn't take long for that little bugger to throw some heat. I don't know if you can hear it pulling, but oh, we got a nice little burn going. Like I said, I got the Black Betty, so that puts me up a little bit higher. Oh, it's hard to beat this time of the day though, guys. Relax, let the old stove heat up. Yeah, like I said, I'm gonna look into getting me a booster pack or something. Something I could charge with, you know, like bigger devices. Well, not bigger devices, but just quicker. These little panels I've got, they work pretty good. I mean, don't get me wrong. But it all boils down to money, doesn't it? It's a money world. Seems to be. And things keep going up. But we're out here doing this, so it's all good. There's that old train, guys. So yeah. I think we're just gonna lay here for a bit and call it a night for day one, guys. Wake up in the morning, see the weather situation. We may be back through the night if it gets like rainy or snowy or something like that. But I'm getting pretty dopey and tired, so I think what we're going to do until a bit later, guys, or possibly even in the morning, is call her a night. Like I said, unless we get some cool weather coming in, but we're all tarped in out there for a nice porch, so we'll hang out and maybe get some nice weather footage tomorrow. Catch you in the morning, guys. Have some oatmeal with the badger. I think I brought oatmeal. I should check before I say, but I'm pretty sure I did. But anyway, guys, check back in the morning. Well, good morning, guys. It is day 2 in our little adventure. And I've got the camera doing some freestyle. No selfie stick. My arm. So yeah, we had a pretty good night last night, guys. Pretty cozy. Take you guys down here and show you the view of our little camp. And we had a fire pretty much till last time I talked to you guys, and we didn't have any kind of bad weather in the way wind or anything like that. Actually, I'm always paranoid with that pipe. But anyways, yeah, I'm gonna have to empty the ashes today in the little stove. Yeah. And probably get some more wood for sure. We have every charging or battery bank that I have going, or that I own, I should say, going. I bought those two little guys last winter, and I wasn't doing the YouTube thing. I only needed it for like this fan. It recharges, and believe it or not, this little fan, Amacool, I think is the name. They come off Amazon, like most things do today, and it swivels, and it's got one of the most powerful little friggin' fans I've ever seen, guys. I don't know how it works, but there's two buttons. This is your fan here. I mean, I don't know if you can hear it, and then it's got a nice light in it. So anyways, sorry, just getting up, and I'm trying to get some camera batteries charged here. But I think if I keep going with the YouTube thing, I mean, I don't have any plans on stopping, guys. I mean, I've got my subscribers, and I'm gaining a few more. I guess my goal is 1,000, if you want to know the truth. I don't know why. I think anybody that does videos, it gets to be that way. Like, I mean, I started out just, you know, shits and giggles, and then, you know, I get a. I remember when I first started, I had 20 subscribers, 25 subscribers pretty quick, but you know, up till 50, I was happy at 50. I really legit was, because I thought, well, 50, it's probably not all friends and family, you know what I mean? And now, the last time I checked, before this camp, I think it was 331. So it's coming slowly from 300 up. It's been pretty slow right there. But I've had a couple videos that did well. A lot of people saw them. Heavy rain and thunderstorms, and people like to see that. And I understand. I look up the same things. I really do, though. I think it's something in the camping world. Here's the old pole, guys, I cut to make a nice center pole. Because really, in all honesty, guys, I really did believe. I checked the weather for 2 or 3 days, and the weatherman had lied. Oh, that's where the fire is. As soon as I moved it back there. And you know, guys, I did have to do something else. I should show you this too also. Last night, if you watch my channel, I've talked about this before. This little nut down here. It's got a nut. Now an easy way to fix this, I suppose, would be to find a tiny little rod and put right down through there. No nut to curl the end. But anyways, I noticed when I opened my door, when I went to close it, it would be wonky here. So I know what that means. I have a tiny little screwdriver, and I just used my multi-tool, and I think it was 4 little turns, and now she's good to go again. But if you ever buy one of these little stoves, this come off Amazon, and the name of it is I don't think you can see it anymore, but Thouse Winds or something. Anyways, I've seen guys say they buy these off of AliExpress, which I think is a lot like Amazon. I just seem to be having a little bit of trouble here, guys. Charging my camera battery. This little camera, it came with 2 batteries. And even when it was new, I mean, you know, because it's cheap, right? It's not an expensive camera, guys. I mean, I have put 25 videos on YouTube with this little bugger. Believe me, I didn't expect it to be as good as it is. And you know what? The only downside is batteries, and maybe you guys could leave me a couple comments. Because, like, I don't know. Oh, stupid. That was really dumb, Badger. You see why I bring burn spray, guys, in the go bag? But yeah, maybe you guys have some experience with that. You could leave me some comments to let me know, because basically, guys, when I buy a piece of kit, it's a big deal. Like, I don't know how to say it. I work for a living, that's what I'm trying to say. I guess I don't like making mistakes when I buy gear. And I have made mistakes, like in... so, you know, I try to study things too on YouTube. And if I watch a few guys, a few different videos, and they all seem to have the same result, well, then it's a pretty good chance that it works. It's like I told you guys before, if you watch the channel, about refilling the thermosol canisters. I wasn't going to show you how to do it, but I looked up a few guys' videos, and, well, guys, a few people's videos, and it was all the same. It was all the same. They all did the same thing, and it worked. And I did it, and it worked. And I've been doing it for 2 years to refill those little canisters. But these battery packs and this... I guess my question to you guys is if you kind of do this thing like I do, or even if it's not a YouTube thing, even if it's just, you know, you guys do a lot of outdoorsy things with cameras, just let me know. Like, is it a... I would suspect it's because of the cold. And I imagine even the higher end cameras would have an issue there too. But, well, guys, top of the morning to you. Oh. Oh yeah, and in case you're wondering, I am wearing the old Badger booties. You guys got any experience with those solar, I don't know what you call them, solar generators? Or them Jackeries. I was looking at those, but I can't afford them. They're quite a little out of my price range. Got to understand, you know, what I do out here, guys, I enjoy doing, and there's nobody, you know, it's me and my wife pays for this stuff. Like, you know, she buys me Christmas presents, and we buy things together, and, you know, she's not into this as much as I am. But she knows how much I love it. And she knows how much I love this spot. So today, guys, I never even had breakfast yet. I didn't even roll out of my rack till 9 o'clock. Can you believe that shit? 9 o'clock. But I mean, I woke up a few times through the night, and I'd throw a stick on, and basically it got down, the coldest it got was minus 5 outside. And the pod is right here beside me, the module. And the coldest the tent got, I think I woke up once, it was 12 in there. And like I said, I just throw a little piece on, throw one of those fiber logs on. Like I said, I left the draft on the pipe wide open. But today I am going to take the stove down and just empty the ashes. That's precaution, because it's got such a little box on it, eh? But yeah, back to my original question, guys. I got to try to work on that. I'll ask a question or start a sentence, and then I'll vary off, and then I'll come back to it again. But yeah, in your opinion, guys, you know, if you got experience with those kind of power boxes, shoot me a couple comments. I am Canadian. I think you've probably picked that up by now. But you know, so there is a price difference between, you know, Amazon America and Amazon Canada. Because I've noticed something. Well, I mean, it's been a while now, but we never used to pay like a tax on anything we'd buy on Amazon. And then the last probably year, I see we do now. So it adds expense. Like if you're buying couple $100 thing, well, that's an extra $30 or so, you know. Plus, good thing about Amazon, a lot of times there's free shipping. So anyways, yeah, my question is, I guess, is in these power boxes, guys, like I know, like if I could afford the only name I really know in those, so that's why I keep saying it, is Jackery, and there's a Brunelli or something. In the lower end ones, I don't really know, but even in the lower end ones, I wouldn't care for what I do. It's not like I'm an explorer. But to me, I need at least if I'm going to buy one someday, I would like a 1000. Because that way there, I mean, I know they do have nice 500 watt, and if you have a solar panel, 100 watt solar panel, I'm always looking for different ways, you know, to camp. I mean? Like being out here and being, you know, maybe do, you know, instead of 2 days, maybe 4 days, and being like off grid, but with cameras. You know, when I watch these videos, like AB Outdoors, I love his videos. I mean, that guy, you know, he does his thing, and he does his thing. That's all I'm going to say, and I respect that. And I follow his videos, and he makes long videos, and I mean, when you get to that, I need more power. And on videos, well, even when I watch his videos, I never think of that. I never really think of that till I've been making a few little videos, and then I think, shit, wonder what he powers with. No, but you know what I mean? Because see, back before I did these videos, well, the only thing I had to charge would have been last winter when I was camping out here. But I didn't video that because I wasn't doing YouTube. Would have been, at worst, my headlight, my fan, and my cell phone, and my jute box. Next camp, guys, I'm going to bring a piece of kit that my wife bought me. I have an old cell phone. Actually, the old cell phone is, even though it's totally obsolete, I carry a flip phone, so it's newer than my flip phone. But flip phone, I don't seem to break it yet. Next time I come camping, I am going to bring the jukebox, because usually I just lay here, and it's strange because I'll light a candle. I have just a little tiny light in the tent, and I don't really read too much. Sometimes I will, but not usually. I'm not going to hump a laptop to watch a movie. I could do that home on my 65-inch curved screen TV, you know what I mean? But to each his own, That's what I want right there. But, I suppose, maybe some people watch their movies out here. I guess it would be like when I do read out here. You read till you get sleepy. Maybe I will have to do that. Try that sometime. But since I've been by this brook, this is good. But I'm not knocking anybody, guys. Everybody's got a different way of doing things. There's no wrong way. If you are able, I know there's people in this world and they can't get out and do this kind of thing, because they just can't, they're physically, they can't. Just get out here and try it out and see what you think, You don't need a bunch of fancy gear. Shit, everything I got has got no name on it. I own one tent with a decent name. Well, but you know what? I wonder sometimes how much these guys that have these fancy, expensive tents, in comparison to my little tiny one tigress tents, because for the most part that's what I do have, and I do have a snug pack. But I gotta get that stick off my tent. But I'm just saying, you don't need expensive gear to use it, because believe me, this iron wall is a year old. And the Smoky Hut, I think the Smoky Hut, this is going on its 3rd year. So these aren't high-end tents. I love the Smoky Hut, and I always say that, guys. I do. I love this one because I have that little half mesh liner, and I like to be, I know despite what it looks like right now, I like to be organized. So yeah, this is my little morning rant. We should check the temperature, guys. I try to talk about things you guys might want to know or need to know, or I don't know. Jesus Christ, that rhymed. Okay, I know it's really hard to see on this camera, guys, so I don't know if you can. But we're still minus 2.4 outside. 17 in the tent, but I got that up at the peak too. That little bugger's just chucking away. I love that little thing. Fan still charging. Trying to charge. These little batteries for this frickin' little camera. So that'll be my mission today, is to get these charged. And this power bank right now is down to half. And that battery's reading charged, so we might be okay. And the only thing is with these little solar buggers is A day like today, there's no sun, but if I'm not using them, I am still going to put it outside because I think there's some ambient right there. See the old heat coming off of that stovepipe. And this little bottle, one of the first videos I ever made was low buck useful items from the dollar store. And I bought a little kit. It was a little set of bottles, different sizes, different. And I carry sugar in those. I find two of those, two coffees, depending on how you like your coffee. Kind of like how you like your camping videos. Now, I try to be careful what I say, guys, because I don't mean to insult anybody or anything like that. I am certainly no expert. I've said that many times. Me and my dad, my dad was a gearhead, you know, which was cool. He taught me shit. Probably why, you know, I mean, it's a smaller scale than my dad did, but I tinker on my little motorized bicycles. I mean, I get a kick out of that, and you make them do different things, and, you know, I don't know, look different ways. And it's cheap. It's a cheap hobby. So yeah, to bring back to what I was talking about yesterday, I think I'm gonna get me one of those little diesel heaters for the shop and see how it does, and if it works pretty good, I'll get a power pack big enough to charge my electronics and run that. Because from what I study on the things, it's only the initial startup and the shutdown where the glow plug goes. Because a little tent like this, I'm thoroughly convinced, on the first or second setting, I could heat it in the dead of winter. Now you might think, well, Jesus, how are you going to do that? Well, I've got these Pelican sleds. I have a big one and a small one. And even though I don't have snowmobiles anymore, well, I shouldn't say I don't have any snowmobiles, guys. Someday we'll take you in the shop if you're interested. Leave me a couple comments if you're interested. And my wife says I'm a hoarder, but she bought me this when we first got together. And oddly enough, the goddamn thing was made the same year she was born. So I don't know if she did that on purpose, but when I was a child, like most kids here in Canada, or, you know, Maine or any place else you get snow. I shouldn't just say Canada. Christ, we don't live in igloos. But anyways, I had one of these little Bombardier Elans snowmobile, 12.3 horsepower. Well, I know I'm a grown man, but I have longed for one of those. Well, when me and my wife first got together, Carol, she bought me a 1975 Elan for my birthday. And I've owned that thing since. It's in the corner of the shop. It's got a little carburetor issue because of those old tilts and curbs, and thoroughly convinced, because I did have the motor all redone on it. It's a little single piston. That's what I wanted. And the thing is, guys, even at my age, I can still ride an Elan. I mean, I said you don't ride an Elan, you surf them. And if you could surf them, you can go anywhere, pretty much. But I haven't played with it in the last few years because really pulling sleds and things, it's too much for it. I used to go out and snowshoe the day before, and then it would go like a bugger with the sled. But you know, it's mechanical. And when it's 30 below zero some nights, or 20 below zero. But anyways, isn't that beautiful? And our food bag is hung over there. you see that blue bag? Just beyond that clump of 3 trees there. That part of the forest is the enchanted forest. So yeah, guys, I am feeling fine. Having a good morning with my peeps. Giving you some nice woods action. See, that's how you know I'm not mainstream, guys. You know, in some videos they might be trying to sell you a $500 pair of boots. Well, I'm not going to lie to you guys. Those ones I wore in, they are a few $100. But we're out exploring in a pair of $24 Badger booties. Look at this is crazy. So yeah, guys, day 2. You can see I am not too stressed out this morning. And you know, believe it or not, guys, if you listen to that sound long enough, in the tent, you don't even hear it. You don't even hear the brook anymore. But leave me some comments, guys, if you guys got some experience, like, what do you think? Is there a power unit out there that could run one of those diesel heaters for basically 2 nights without needing a recharge? I think at first, because the cheapest thing I could do is go to Canadian Tire and probably buy the biggest booster pack they have with a cigarette lighter outlet and rig it that way. Anyways, if I get this thing, we're going to do a test, but it'll be close to home in our tent. Because see, for me to use this system, it would require snow. Because I could contain it into my sled, integrated into sleds that I don't use anymore. Because I would purchase the all-in-one unit. But anyways, guys, enough about that. I'm not trying to... I'm sorry if I'm rambling about the diesel heater, but it's in my mind, and it's the next experiment. But yeah... Like I said, guys, you don't get sucked into the world where you got to spend a shit ton, because that is so not the truth. I mean, you will eventually, you know, if you ever sit down and do math, you'll realize you'll have a few $100, but like a lot of my stuff, this here stuff here, Wish. And if you shop around on Amazon, like, I mean, you know, there's probably horror stories out there, but that Marting Top 75, one of my subscribers, he asked me about that in the camp video with Mo, and it's a Marting Top 65 liter, and I got it off Amazon, and I paid about $120 Canadian, I believe. Now that is almost a year old, and I'm serious. That thing is a goddamn tank. Now I'm just going to dig it out. I'm not doing a review here, guys. I just want to show you this one thing. The only 2 things that was wrong: these 2 straps which slip on my harness. So I tied them and I sewed them. And the other thing was the rain cover in the bottom. If you watch my channel, my videos, I was out on a camp, and well, when I went to go put it on, of course, I don't always check things when I get them in the mail, and that's a bad habit. When I went to put it on, all 4 corners where the elastics would go around the bag, the stitching was gone. It was just shit. So luckily I had another backpack, the one I lent Mo, and that's why in here there's a black woods cover. It doesn't match the backpack. But outside of that, the backpack is awesome. It carries weight well. I usually put the stove right inside the bladder pack, but lately I've been just carrying it in the tent right in this little feller here, just in my hand, and that way it's not so much on my back. So anyway, guys, That says the battery's charged. I think I rambled enough. And I'm going to go get some wood. And I'll bring you guys back a little later on. And I do. I'm glad you're with me, guys. You know, gives me somebody to talk to. I appreciate the company too. But over a campsite. It's probably 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I've been just out roaming around the woods. Haven't really seen anything too much out of the ordinary. Just, like I said, it's kind of nice to get out. Sometimes you get out, get a chance, get out for a couple days. And the second day, you get to bumble around. Well, get wood there, but I scavenged some wood. I scavenged some pretty good stuff for an outside fire tonight. And I think with what rummaging around I done and splitting, and I had a few logs left. I think I got plenty for tonight. Because like I said, at -5, the coldest got in there was 12. And I didn't burn a crazy amount of wood. I put one in and then I just get it going good, and I damper it down at the stove end. If I leave the pipe open about 3/4, just because of those logs I told you about. And I don't know if I mentioned it before earlier, but on my last video, my Sawyer Mini, the gasket or rubber, whatever, O-ring, I lost it. Well, a garden hose O-ring will work in a Sawyer Mini, by the way, on a pop bug. Because we've been using it now, and this is day 2, so. But I've been carrying the little camera on me today. Just because, well, I think I'm just going to call this stuff freestyling. No tripod. I wish this thing had a zoom though. And we aren't, well, yeah, I guess we are. We're in the valley. But we're elevated up off the brook that if we did get a freaking torrential rain, I think we'd still be okay because there's no water lines up there. So you could see up through above the tarp. There's another little waterfall up there. And one through the trees right there. And it's been cloudy all friggin' day, guys. I checked the weather network yesterday a few times and the day before, and I was under the assumption that we'd wake up into some ice pellets or snow or something, but in along, the lines of that. But hey, so far nothing. But I mean, that's okay too, because we're here and we're having a good time. And I've been just like roaming the forest today, and things I haven't done for a long time, just because I've had time to today. You guys do this kind of thing, you'll see, like, the second day is really just, you get more time because the tent is set up, the tarp is set up, you pretty much just do your wood and, you know, whatever, kick back, relax. And I will admit, I slept lots last night. I really did, because I didn't roll out of my rack till 9 o'clock. And I mean, that's not solid sleep, but I probably started, well, it was probably 9:30 or 10:30. I'm not sure. I wasn't really monitoring the time, but probably right around there when I started to doze off for 2 hours, 3 hours at a time. That's usually how it works. And then you wake up and you put a little stick in the stove. And now, mind you, winter time it's more demanding. Like on that little stove, like you're firing on it pretty hard. So I wouldn't think you'd get, well, if we use our big sleeping bags, yeah. Which I am, guys. I think I mentioned that I'm using the inner layer of the Canadian Arctic and the Canadian bivvy. And what a difference when I run that zipper right straight down the center of my chest instead of off to the side. That's what I love about doing this. Always room to learn. I'd be hardly pressed to see anybody could label himself an expert. That's quite a statement, I think. When you've got no more left to learn. I think out here, from every day longer you spent would be another lesson or two per day. I've been just standing here a while, guys, because this view is crazy. Could almost make a frickin' treehouse right here, coming right off the ground. Elevated about 15 feet, 12, 15 feet. Those big trees. Have a deck. That'd be pretty wicked. Anyway, guys, I'll check back with you in a bit. Hey guys, you can probably hear it's ice rain or something like that. I'm just getting a little bit of extra wood, and you can see the bare spot right here. This wood here I'm going to just split up because it's pretty dry. Just to have a little bit extra for tonight because we'll get hunkered in. We're going to be hunkered in. I'm going to make sure we're good. And I got a nice pile for the can. I think we're going to put the can over here though. I think. But we're going to play that by ear because it's set nice right there. But we're starting to accumulate snow on the tarps, guys. So I'm sorry if it's loud. But like I said, I was just and why I cut two different pieces is I just wanted to show you, like, this is just what I'm getting. It's nice and dry, easy before the storm. Plus I still, like I said, I still got a few of those logs left in there, those fiber logs. You know, hard work out here, but once you figure out what kind of saws and things like that to use, it helps. For me, it's that Boreal 21. It works pretty good for me. Whew. It cuts pretty good. Ooh, listen to that. Yeah, I'm going to finish up that little piece of log, guys. And I just wanted to share that with you. This is just a little extra. And I'm going to just fiddle around with it. You know, split it down. Okay, we hope that the tarp will bear the storm. The little tent, well, it wouldn't be the first storm I've had her through, so I'm pretty confident with that and stove. And actually, with what wood I've got in there. I mean, in reality, the way I feel is even if I started the fire in there around 6, I would probably have enough if I fired easy, because I actually think the temperature might have went up a little bit out here. But I have been doing wood, so the last time I checked it was 0. Almost -1 out here. So, Yeah, it's been a good day, day 2. I ate that vanilla pudding. It was really good. I like chocolate a lot, and I've had the chocolate pudding in the MREs, but the vanilla beats it hands down. Hands down. So yeah, it just feels so much later than it really is. Jeez, I got so many layers on, guys. Not that it's that cold, but I like to be warm. Ten after 3. Dark early tonight, guys. Earlier than 5:15 or whatever it was last night. But I do have camp bundled up pretty good tonight. Or today. It feels like tonight, but I will keep you guys posted with this storm. And yeah, if it turns to more of a snow, which I think it is a snow right now, it's kind of like ice pellets actually, I think. So I'm going to finish this little bit of wood and split that down, and then I'll bring you guys back tonight if we get some snow, or, well, I'm going to bring you back because we'll have a little fire tonight. Since this is going to be our second night, our last night. And in the morning, well, we'll play it by ear how much video we do, but tomorrow will be day 3. And then the day after that, I got to go back to work. So, it's tough to do a camp that way, I find, but it's just the way that it worked out this time. Like, I was on vacation, but I did the camp with Morris, and that was last week. And I had some things to take care of this week. So it worked out that I could do the 2-day camp and come back on Saturday, start back on work on Sunday. So that's why it's not all the time I can get out on these camps, because, you know, it takes time, but I love doing it and I love sharing it. So thanks, guys. I'll bring you back a little bit later. I'm feeling the storm is starting. Hey guys, well, the ice rain is still going. The mic stand here. Shit, I got the stove wet. Yeah, so the ice rain is still coming. Never done that before, though. But then again, I've never really spilled water on it either. So yeah. Shit. Yeah. Come on, baby. She's gonna go. I don't know. It's like I said on my phone, I just got an old flip phone, so I can't check the weather. To see what's going on. And I know it's going to be an early night in the tent. I'm finishing off the orange battery bank on the ring light, and I hooked the little camera right to it, even though the camera had a full battery. I figured, well, I might as well finish it off with some video tonight. I covered a lot of ground today. Just tramping around. I think I brought you guys in on a couple little things I did. And then I just tramped around. You guys saw me get a little bit of wood. That was just extra wood for inside the tent, just for right now. Like, I don't know what it is in there, but the last time I went in it was like 22. And it's really not that cold out here. Well, I'm sitting near the fire too, so. I'm just gonna set this here, guys. And I am going to get me a coffee going or something. Just because I think she's going to be an early night in the tent. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to have a hot chocolate. Fire's going good. Strawberry dairy shake. Well, let's try it out. Strawberry. So yeah, we're going to try this strawberry stuff. I'm going to make it easy and put it in my bowl, my cup. Yeah, it's like 20 something in there, guys. Yeah. I'm glad I stayed dry. Glad I stayed once this here business started. I pretty much stayed under the tarp. And like I said, once I get in, the tent for the night, we will try to stay warm, which I think we'll be able to. So I think that's going to tie it up pretty much, guys, for day 2. And we might get a little bit more video tonight. We'll see. Get in by the stove. Because like I said, it's about 5 o'clock now. And it's already just about dark. So I'm thinking about getting in there and getting cozy. And spend a nice warm night by the wood stove. That go out. I've been up around a lot today. And if we video some more, it'll be from inside. In the morning, I'm not sure. Depends on the weather. I might video a little bit when I'm packed up. Just play it by ear. It's been a while since I did a 2-day camp. Takes a lot out of me. It's true though. I won't do many of these probably. I used to though, guys. But for as comfortable as I am, it's still not your bed, huh? So anyway, guys, we're probably going to be back a bit later and have a chat by the wood stove maybe. Like I said, we play it by ear. But I sure appreciate you guys coming along. Thanks a lot. Sorry about that, guys. She kind of launched out of the little bracket. But yeah, we're going to pack it up, head for the house. I should be able to get her all done in about an hour, and then put the sleeping bag out to dry, the tent. You always get that water along the bottom, and I do have an area I see as a, like I said, it was a low spot. Everything else actually looks pretty good. It's right over there behind the camera. So yeah, it's been a good camp. 7:45, and it's still not daylight out yet, guys. Not quite. And this battery pack, the orange one, it is on its last bar, but you know what? It did the mission. So I think that'll be the first time that I really emptied it. But I still had the other one, the secondary one that I used to charge the fan. So yeah, I think I'm going to just make myself a little spot right out there by the center pole. And that's where I'm going to do my packing. And I can still let this little bugger burn down. But anyway, guys, get away from all of that stuff. It works good, but sometimes it's just more friggy than it's worth, you know? We're just gonna say until next time, guys. Keep on camping with the Badger. Thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate it. Yeah, we thought we'd get a little. I'll grab my coffee. You can see we got a little wet spot here, guys, in the tent. This is just a little bit of bonus footage. I want to take you for a walk because it's so nice out here. But everything else remains very nice and dry. I can live with this because I didn't really have anything there anyways. Hey, when I woke up this morning, did I ever have some snow on that tarp? You can see by the piles. Sure is a beautiful place. I know, guys, we've got a few inches of snow out here. I'm sorry I didn't get out through the night last night to get any of the snow on the camera because I would have. But say I didn't even light the stove till, well, I had a little fire when I went in early and I let it out because it's too warm. 12:30 I woke up and I put just a tiny little, and I don't know what it was doing then. I think it was just still doing the ice ring thing, but at some point she changed. So yeah, I got my sleep pack all packed already. My sleeping bag and my Black Betty. And the wife called me, God bless her, because she knew that I was coming out early today. She asked me, she says, because she got to come up and pick me up. And she says, she calls me up this morning and she was all worried because she says, usually when you say you're out early, she said, you're out by 7. But this morning with the wet and things like that, you need to take a little bit more time. And I wanted to have one cup before I go. It's been fun, guys. And I said I did last night, I don't know. I think the temperature only got down to about 0, to tell you the truth, because I didn't use hardly any of that wood, so I'm going to make a stockpile over there and I'm going to cover it up because we definitely will be doing another camp down here. But anyway, guys, I know I've already did, I don't even know the technical term, one exit video this morning, but I just wanted to share it with you. It's beautiful either way. So anyway, guys, I hope you like this adventure. There's more to come. More of my harebrained little schemes. But no, we got a long winter, some winter camps ahead of us. Next thing I film will probably be setting up of the badger den. That's my permanent 10-man bell tent for the winter. And when we want to do an easy camp or a little badger meeting, we can just go out there, because that'll be a permanent setup. But anyway, guys, thank you. Subscribe if you haven't, share my videos, click the like button if you like them. Leave me some comments, guys. Thank you, guys. Keep camping with the badger.